Hello everyone and welcome to this next film roundup video. As is customary, I'm going through all the films that I've watched as new watches, and this time in May of this year. I'll go through, I'll offer some thoughts, I'll offer a little mini review, a little analysis if I want, and we'll speed on. So this is the summary from this month. So I only saw 10 new things, 5 of which were films from my 1001 list. So I'm now at 429, which is exciting. Will we get to I was going to say will we get to 500 by the end of the year? I very much hope so. But yeah, it's sort of a nice interesting mix. A bunch of them are stewarded by my partner, but we'll get to those when we get to them. What I would say for the moment, you see the links to the letterbox there, so if you want to join me on this journey, please do follow there. Without further ado, let us kick off. So the first new watch on the 6th, I watched Daisies, a film from 1966, which is essentially sort of like a Czech art film. Broadly speaking, it's about two young women who want to eat a lot and go around destroying things. The two women are quite enjoyable presences. I think neither was a professional actor, as best I understand. This is one of those things. I think if you've been with me in any of these previous videos, every time I've come across sort of an art film or something like that that's a bit more esoteric, it's not something that lands with me, and this is one of those really. It's something like 70 minutes long, and I struggled. I really struggled. It was important. I'm told it's quite an interesting metaphor for sort of the shifts in Czech politics at the time, and sort of female agency and sort of discourse being silenced or covered up or whatever. Other scholars can see that better than I. All I can say is this is not the kind of film that speaks to me, and this one didn't, in truth. Skip ahead. On the 7th, I watched Dolly, a vaguely a slasher film, not a slasher film, a sort of a horror film. A young woman who was proposed to by her partner, and they happen upon this figure, Dolly, who is this sort of monstrous woman who wears a mask and sort of kidnaps this woman and treats her as her own baby. It's very grindhousey. It has that sort of aesthetic, that sort of dirty video aesthetic of sort of the 70s and the 80s, which will vibe very much with some. There's not too much to it in truth. It's about 80 minutes long, I think, and again, it doesn't really sustain that much, I would say. I kind of think I sort of almost wanted to be nasty. There's some sort of wonderful sequence of gore with one of the characters that I won't spoil if you watch it. But yes, it was okay. So I went to watch it. So this was sort of hyped up as a big film, and I went to watch it. So it was all right. Again, it's that sort of grindhouse, more exploitative sort of camera feel isn't something I overly resonate with. Go and watch it though. If that speaks to you, you'll greatly enjoy it. Satan Tango, another film off my list. A film that's 7 hours long. They're depicting sort of a community in, I want to say, Hungary, and there's a worry because some local person is sort of coming back to the village, and they think have disappeared. It is a tough watch. So this is a film that I would never have seen were it not on my list. It was by far the longest of anything that was left. I'd watched the two Shenandoah films previously over 2 nights. The filmmaking here relies a lot on long takes and long shots, in which sort of then there's room given to the space to breathe, and it breathes a lot. This is it is a slow film. It is built to be slow. Like, this is not a criticism. It is built to be slow, and again, there's sort of allegorical significance to it. Again, this is not quite the sort of thing that speaks to me. And the sort of the opening shot is 10 minutes of sort of cows going about their business in a field and that. This will, I imagine, have its defenders who sort of tout it as one of the greatest things ever. It's probably on all these lists that sort of critics come up with and sort of. But yeah, it was an experience. It was an experience, and there was quite an interesting atmospheric thing going on. But be warned, it is 7 hours long, and by the nature of the fact that it's deliberately constructed as slow, it's a tough 7 hours. Run. So I watched this. My fiance put this on when I was with her. A film that it turns out is in the same universe as Missing. This film with I was searching. Sorry, the film with John Chu, as sort of a father looking for his daughter. And this stars Sarah Paulson as a mother, and who has a disabled daughter, and the daughter starts to suspect that her mother's intentions of looking after her may not be motivated solely by sort of positive things. I won't go into it, although I think if you've ever seen a thriller film, you can probably see where we're heading with this quite early on. There were some sort of lovely constructed sequences there. One sequence in which the daughter, who is in a wheelchair, is unable to, sort of has to crawl along a roof using only her arms. There's some nice little tense sequences. Sarah Paulson is pulling sort of traditional Sarah Paulson, as sort of a disturbed woman with secrets, motivated by herself. Funky little thriller. It could do worse. I enjoyed it. It was a nice little punch. Justice for the mailman is all I can say. Let's shift ahead. So it's been maybe a bit of a lully month, but fortunately, this is where we're really starting to pick up. Sort of the latter half of the month is really sort of doing a lot of the lifting here. Corey Barker's Obsession, which I saw as an Odeon Scream Unseen. I love the Scream Unseens, despite that you always know what it is, because there's only ever one horror film coming out at a time. This was fantastic. This is probably my favourite of all the sort of the new films, by which I mean films from 25-26 that I've seen this year. A young man called Bear is very attracted to his friend Nikki, and when he fumbles a chance to ask her out, he breaks a sort of a wishing stick, the one wish willow, and wishes that she'll love him more than anyone else in the world. And from that, obsession grows and sort of darkness grows. This is a film, so I saw this on the 13th and I've not stopped thinking about it since. It was so good. And there's so much going on. It was so rich. I would happily go back and watch it again. Yeah. This landed, as I say, sort of kudos to Corey Barker for so I watched Milk and Cereal last year, and that really landed. This really landed. Indy Navarrete as Nikki, the woman at the heart of the wish, is phenomenal. So she should go places from this. It's a phenomenal performance, and a wonderful supporting cast as well. Michael Johnston as Bear, what's her name? Megan Lawless as the friend Sarah, and Andy Richter pops up in sort of a cameo role. This is so good. It just lands and it makes you feel so uneasy, and but with lots of moments of levity too. This is like I said. I would very much say if you haven't seen this, please go out and watch it. It's incredibly good. And the fact that it's been out 3 weeks and each week it's got made more and more, which is not what films do at all. Yeah, speaks I think to the way this has really resonated. I may go into this more detail if people want. Comment below, let me know. I would love to do something with this, so let me know. Spirited Away. So we're getting to a bunch of films that are sort of more coming off my list. And this, so prior to this, I'd only ever seen one Studio Ghibli film. I don't know why. It had never been sort of something I'd deliberately not done. I just never had seen them. And then one of them, Princess Mononoke, I watched on my list, was with my partner, and we watched this one, Spirited Away, another one from the list. A young girl, and her family wind up in sort of a mysterious village when they're moving house, and her parents eat some food and it turns them into pigs. So the young girl pursues sort of a witch who may be able to help them out, and sort of winds up working in this sort of spirit hotel almost. Ghibli films, so the artwork is glorious and some sort of wonderful set pieces, wonderful music. The main theme to this I really liked. It was gorgeous, and some of the characters, and so sort of the sequence of the bog spirit that may or may not be a bog spirit, and No Face, who is a bit of a sort of a fan favourite, as I understand. This I enjoyed. This chimed with me a little less than Princess Mononoke and another Ghibli film that I'm going to mention shortly, but it was fantastic. It's so inventive, it looks gorgeous, it's so musical, and I I mean, I don't need to tell anyone sort of about the value of a Ghibli film, even though I'm going to try and do that here and elsewhere. Little Women, the Greta Gerwig's adaptation of Louisa May Alcott's story, starring Saoirse Ronan as the central sister. The supporting cast of Florence Pugh and Emma Watson and Timothy Chalamet. This is a book I've read many moons ago. I'm quite a fan of the earlier adaptation from, I want to say, '94. This played a little more with sort of notions of authorship and sort of mixing the timelines, where sort of half of it's taking place in sort of a film's present and half of it, it's implied, is Jo, the Saoirse Ronan character, kind of reflecting on her past and with her sisters. And yeah, this is a really charming adaptation, so it's probably my favourite Greta Gerwig film. Sort of, there's a level of inventiveness here that I really like. The cast are all phenomenal, so even the supporting cast of smaller things like Chris Cooper crops up as Chalamet's ward, as his I want to say his father or grandfather, or yes, Bob Odenkirk and Laura Dern as the March's March sisters' parents. There's a lot of wonderful things there, and it looks gorgeous and it's fun. It's fun. It balances the cast's fun and it's emotional. This was good. I think this was an awards contender in 2019 or 20, depending on when it came out. And I can recognise it. This was a good, fun period drama. There's lots going on. It was enjoyable. The Chair. So a short film by Cory Barker. I saw a video discussing how much of Obsession was kind of filtered through the lens of this earlier film. Like, there was lots of inspiration here, so I went to find this. This was weird, about a guy who finds a sort of an old chair and takes it back to his house, and then his mental state starts to deteriorate. This was a trippy, unusual film. It really was. Some excellent sort of scares. It's quite a disorientating one, and this chimed with me less. There's a lot of ambiguity powering through it. It chimed me slightly less, but you could do worse. It's a nice little punchy short film. Go check it out. If you do, then go watch Obsession. Grave of the Fireflies, another Ghibli film. My goodness, this is sad. So I wept watching this. This is so sad. In the sort of the closing months of World War II in Japan, a young boy is forced to look after his young sister, and they struggle with bombardments, they struggle with hunger, they struggle with essentially a living. This, I mean, you know where this is going because it's sort of set up in the first scene. There's sort of no mysteries. My goodness, it's so sad to get there. It's a film that looks gorgeous and it packs a punch. It packs a punch. And I had a look up at this when I was logging it on Letterboxd. And as I'm saying, this is one of those things that everyone should watch, but only watch once because it will sort of break your heart. And that is probably an incredibly fair reflection. This is perhaps one of the greatest anti-war films ever made, and even though the director claims that was not the intention, but I mean, when you watch it, I do not think. And yes, this one lands. It really lands. In terms of the 4 Ghibli films I've watched, the 4th coming up in a moment, this is probably my favourite. This spoke to me in a way, and I know there's this joke about me very much liking depressing stuff. This looks gorgeous, but the punch it packs. When films speak to you and land with you, what more can you say? And then my last film of this month, my last new watch, was Howl's Moving Castle. It even popped on my fiance. This is her favourite Ghibli film. A young woman interacts with a witch, and the witch curses her and turns her into an old lady. She goes on a quest to sort of leave her family, pursuing help, and winds up in the moving castle by wizard Howl. In the backdrop of this, there's a war going on, and there's lots of people in pursuit of Howl. Again, this looks gorgeous. There's a wonderful animation style with the castle itself. It's sort of this magical animation where it makes a fire and a scarecrow to be two of the most endearing characters in the film. Um, it's gorgeous. Again, it's packed full of stuff. And the music is fantastic. I found the central character, whose name I don't quite remember, Sophie is who it is, to be very, very endearing. What I would say is I got a little lost in this because I'm getting old and confused. And towards the end, I started to get a little lost in the narrative, and many, many things happening. But again, I can't not. This is one that's lived on for a reason, right? It's a gorgeous. In the books it was adapted from, the film, and highly recommended. Sort of the level of visual inventiveness and narrative inventiveness, and is a beautiful thing. It's not animation is very, very belittled and scorned, and unfairly so. But films like the Ghibli film, all three of them, that are really quite radically different that I've talked about in this video at least, and it's proof that sort of when you have people with incredible talent and storytelling gifts bring it together, they make some wonderful, wonderful, beautiful films. So go check them out. I have a couple more animations on this, one more Ghibli film, which is it The Boy and the Heron. It's the last one. But I'm not gonna, I'll still be watching the one. I'm sure you'll get to hear some thoughts coming very, very soon. For now, though, I will finish. I will thank you all for watching this video. Do comment below and let me know what new things you've seen this month. Is there anything I should check out? Is there anything that I should definitely avoid? Have you seen any of these films and you agree or disagree with my conclusions? I would love to hear from everyone. I really, really would. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. You see the media's there, and make sure to like the video, subscribe, ring the bell so you know when there's a new stuff coming. Thank you so much for watching. I will look forward to seeing you all in the next one.